Welcome to this EDUcast, Best Practices for Customer Experience, sponsored by BBX Technologies and Telecom Reseller. This is Gary Auden, and with me today is Mulk Bouazi, Executive Director, BBX Technologies. And as we always do, we talk about our agenda first. We're going to talk about the goals and challenges related to customer experience in contact centers, what customers' experience are like, proactive approaches you can take, developing easy first call resolution, why you should not ignore your agents, they are not indispensable, and we're going to finish off with a discussion of workforce management because that helps in creating a good contact center as well. I'd like to start off with this first chart, and this chart is from Deloitte Consulting Global Contact Center Survey, and notice in the far left, customer experience and expectations in 2017, it was considered more important than it was 2 years ago. Then go to the middle, improvement of service. Notice that that has also increased in importance. And that's very much what we're going to be talking about today in this EDUcast, is the importance of the customer experience and improvement of service. So let's start off with this one, Mulk. There are 7 goals on this slide. Which 3 do you think are most important?
Yes, and before that, thank you, Gary, for having me here today for talking about call center best practices. So, yes, on this, I can see several items that have the word customer in it. And of course, for every business, customer is always the most important. Having said that, I look at the other that has the first contact resolution and agent proactivity. Now, those will certainly contribute to the customer loyalty. So they're all intertwined in a way.
Now let's move on to the challenges. All right. In response to the goals we just talked about, what do you think are the most challenging aspects of operating and managing a contact center?
I mean, we work with contact center all the time, and the agent turnover and training appears to be one of the most challenging just because it is very costly to get new agents, train them, not only on the business side of things, but also train them on the call center tools. So that one is important. The improve agent productivity, that's always on top of any call center manager's agenda. And, adding some call center easy to use with training universities, keeping those agents motivated as well is very important.
The next slide says something that isn't always obvious. It says, would you discuss why you should not treat all customers the same?
Yes, again, this is true for any business. A lot of businesses have to serve different customers in different ways. For example, in healthcare, you handle service provider calls differently from the way you handle members, for example. So having a call center software that has intelligent routing, skills-based routing will definitely help you manage those customers differently and provide better service.
That leads into the next slide. How does the lead into customer prioritization? What does this mean, and how do you identify who you should prioritize?
Oh, yes, this is very important because when you prioritize, you get the right agents talking to the right customers so that you create that personalized touch, which is key for customer service. We all know that customers really dislike transfers, being put on hold, not talking to the right person and have to be transferred. So again, having a call center that can do those preferred agent routing and help you with that intelligent routing would really help customers with the customer prioritization.
Another thought came to me as I've been looking at slides, and it's the term proactive calling. What's its benefits?
Oh, the benefits are numerous for proactive. We think of call center, we always think of inbound and intelligent routing and so on, but more and more we are seeing that our customers want to do outbound, proactive, through reminders by all media possible. They want to stay in touch with their customers through those proactive outreach, which actually would have some positive effects in having those customers call back in.
Well, let's continue that discussion on the next one. You have 2 terms here, preemptive contact and proactive contact. What's the difference?
Yes, those two, of course, are related somewhat. What we find is that most people are familiar with proactive because they have to do with appointment reminders, service reminders, delivering news releases, and so on. But preemptive adds a nuance of cost avoidance. For example, nipping costs before they are bud. So the preemptive is, for example, when you notify your customers that there is a service outage in an area, or you provide like status alerts for an application, those would make your customers not have to call back into your call center constantly asking for updates, which would avoid cost.
This IVR, interactive voice response tree, isn't too terrible, but I did encounter one with the IRS that took me half an hour to go through, and I had to take notes. All right. So when we start looking at this, what happens when people discover it's hard to get in contact with the right agent?
Oh, yes, Gary, I've seen these charts. I've seen even some that are even more complex. And the outcome is rarely good because if it's a customer service type call center, it leads to frustration and customer frustration and not being able to get to the right person. If it's a call center that is sales based, then what you have is lost sales. So your call center software, your IVR software, should have intelligent routing in them based on DNIS, based on preferred agents, based on ANI, so that you reduce that complexity and offer better service for our customers.
When I had that terrible time with the IRS, it made me not want to call them. However, I had no place else to call.
That's true.
First, contact resolution. And the statement on here maybe seems contradictory. Why should you not minimize talk time? Why talking longer would be better?
I mean, minimizing talk time, it's always a goal for call center managers, and they pull statistics, reports, and they want to minimize time while providing good service. In fact, we should be more focusing on efficient and effective talk time would be better practices. And here, your call center software needs to provide your agents the tools to be more effective, for example, through screen pops or scripts during the call, or even being able to ask for help through a one-click button, for example, to ask your manager for help when you need it right away. These would minimize talk time, but with a better way of being efficient and effective.
We're continuing with first contact resolution. Would you review some of the elements of first contact resolution that are beneficial?
Oh, yes. The contact centers need to have that in the focus. First contact resolution, it's key. So there are some tools, of course, in the software that would allow you to do this, like a preferred agent routing. And a preferred agent routing could actually be stored in the customer's database because they know their personnel. So having a contact center that can query a database to find that preferred agent would really enhance the first contact resolution. Skills-based routing is another key component for that. And screen pop with relevant and trustable information is another key component.
When you talk about key components and things you should or shouldn't do, you use the word effective. Would you continue that discussion?
Yes, effective, meaning that we are actually providing the right information at the right time. And instead of having to look or shuffle through paperwork or through databases, it needs to be readily available, and that's what makes it effective.
I talked earlier about agents and they're not indispensable. All right. Would you discuss happy agents for us and what they deliver when they're happy?
Yes, I mean, there's numerous studies. There is some things we know firsthand being in contact centers. There is no question that when customers are happy and satisfied, that leads into happier customers and more loyal customers. And what makes happy agents happier is if they are knowledgeable about the processes, the software they use is very easy to use, it's quick, it provides helpful information right there for them. that actually motivates agents to be able to do an effective job and in turn into more satisfied customers as well.
We mentioned the word churn at the bottom of this page, and that transitions us to the next page. Churn is agent attrition. Talk about agent attrition. Why it's a difficult problem, and how does that affect the effectiveness of the contact center?
Oh, yes. I mean, we all know that working in a call center environment, it's really not an easy task. We know that. And agent attrition is always a major challenge for all contact centers out there. But there are some few ways that would really help that. For example, having training programs. It's really a good way to boost agent morale and productivity. Also, having a reward and recognition program may help. And here again, your call center software and your workforce management software would help because it would provide those KPIs, those key performance indicators, and they would provide the agents what is their score, giving them ways to set up goals to enhance those scores would actually keep the agents in and help with the agent attrition.
Talk about some of the tools and techniques used to create both customer loyalty and also satisfying the agents.
Yes, and those, again, by experience, by talking to agents, talking to call center personnel, we see tools like call coordinated screen pop. That is a tool that is very helpful for an agent. When they can see the information right then and there, it's fast, and they can help the customer. That's a great tool. Another tool is to be able to look at their reports and their scores through a WFM. We notice that agents are very eager to look at their scores and how they've done and how they can enhance. Tools like workforce management, where they can manage their schedules and be able to call for time off. These are also tools that really help agents stay on board.
When I think about agent churn, I think about that's a cost to the contact center. Is it actually cheaper to reduce the churn than to pay for the retraining of new agents?
Oh, there is no question about that. Absolutely no question about that, yes. The churn is very, very costly for any company, for the training. Those agents acquire so much knowledge on what they use, the processes, that it is very, very beneficial to train and keep the agents rather than allowing the churn.
In the last slide, you talked about WFM, that's workforce management, right? What is workforce management and why should you apply it?
Oh, sure. Workforce management, it's a key component for any call center. The quick rule of thumb really is that any call center that has 40 agents, say, or more, should at least consider WFM, workforce management. As we know, many companies still use spreadsheets to do scheduling and work on the shifts and so on. But WFM is just that. It's a very powerful software that automates the scheduling, especially if you have multiple shifts. It provides details on adherence to schedule, changes to schedule. It even manages mandatory periodic training, which is required by some companies. It provides forecasting. And that forecasting can turn into automatic schedules for periodic businesses. It allows for intraday scheduling, which is very important for call center managers. So yes, WFM is an important piece of any contact center.
You have a product called Vuesion Contact Center. And from what I see on this screen, there's a diversity of elements here. Would you talk about the capabilities?
Yeah, sure. The Vuesion is first and foremost a blended multi-channel contact center for SMEs, small and medium enterprise, as well as large enterprise customers. We deploy it as both on-premise and hosted models. And the Vuesion starts with a robust core of inbound, handling all advanced routing and analytics. And then there is a series of options that you can see here that can be added a la carte, literally one by one. Those include the multi-channel, email and web chat, call recording, WFO, WFM, callback number queuing, the outdial campaigns, and those again a la carte. This is what makes the product, the Vuesion, so flexible. And one more point I wanted to make is the user interface is the same for agents, supervisors, and system administrators, which is, again, adds quite a bit to the flexibility of the product.
Does this flexibility allow me to start with one thing, gain confidence, and expand the capabilities later?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, most of our customers, start with a certain set of add-ons, and then as they get comfortable with the product and as needs arise for their call center, they come back and keep on shopping from the other modules.
Now, we're talking to you at BBX, but not everybody knows who BBX is. Would you provide some background?
Oh, sure. BBX Technologies was initially founded back in 1996, and the company started as a custom software developer for other telecom companies. And then by the mid-2000s, BBX Technologies deployed its first application software, which was presence and call center. In about 2008, 2010, the company engaged with Avaya and became an Avaya DevConnect member. And the company has been very successful since then in deploying large and small call centers for the Avaya base. One more thing, now currently, we are actually deploying a standalone contact center product for both hosted and on-premise solutions.
Now, this slide shows an awful lot of symbols of customers. You have many customers. What were they looking for that you could satisfy?
Yes, BBX is known for its unparalleled support and customer care. And then the product is very robust, very feature-rich. And as we mentioned earlier, you can shop a la carte for which functions you want to add. It's very scalable. That's another big plus because we have a multi-node design, so it can scale pretty high. And the professional services is also a very, very strong point for us with our customers, which gives us the ability to integrate, customize with their databases and their CRM systems. In short, BBX, we listen to our business partners, we listen to our customers, and enhance our product to be helpful out there in the marketplace.
I'd like to point out to our viewers that there's a number of resources for the Vuesion Contact Center, workforce management, benefits, and about the call center. If you wish to contact BBX, here's the contact information. And I'd like to thank Milk here for today for providing a lot of insight into contact centers and their improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for having me.